Good morning. Welcome to the Christel Crawford Show. I'm Christel Crawford, and I also just restarted my phone because it likes to freeze when I go live. I'm not sure why you need to know that, but I just felt like sharing. Oh, goodness. So, hi, Tracy. So, I'm excited about today's topic. Well, I usually pick topics that I'm excited about because otherwise I can't talk about them. It's one of those things. So today's topic I can't even, what is it? I need a teleprompter. Is being limited with money getting boring? That was my topic for today. So a lot of you have seen that I've got 3 calls coming up on Wednesday. If you're watching this in the future, you can go to my shop and buy those 3 calls because I plan on making this a product, but they're only $75. And one of the things that I'm always looking at this topic. Is anybody else always looking at the topic of money? Is that just me? Like I'm the only one? So anyone else look at how can I have more money? What would it take to have more money? That constant thing of money, money, money. Well, first of all, this whole thing is going to be a riff in and around this, and what I want to give you is some really key information to this money topic that's going to help you change it, and then I want to invite you to changing it even more. So the thing about money is that it's not a thing. Now, that seems weird when you you think you don't have enough of it, or you're feeling needy of it, or you've got the sensation of lack in your body all the time, or that doesn't seem like that's possible, right? But it is. Money's not a thing. You're the thing, you're the guy, you're the guy, you're the guy. So when money wants to change, when money needs to change, guess who is actually requiring to be something different? This guy, you, all right? Now, you don't have any problems. You think you've got problems. You don't actually have problems. You don't have a money problem. You don't have problems. The thing about all of that is that you can create money into a problem that makes you feel like you're solving something to create your life, but it's not actually a problem. And so what I want to talk about today are the things that we're going to be clearing over the next 3 days starting Wednesday. If this is in the future, go to my shop. And if any of you guys think that your friends should be tortured with this conversation about money too, will you please share it? Thank you. We have a lot going on in Access right now. We always have a lot going on in Access right now. One of the big conversations in Access happening right now is around projections and expectations and lies. All right, those 3 things are really, really, really hot topics right now. Fixed points of view, fixed projections, fixed judgments, fixed form, structure, and significance. All of this relates to money. And so I wanted to sort of break apart why money may not be working in your world and what things may be going on that you could start to look at, pock and pod, and change if you want to. So with money, it's very, very easy to start functioning from lies. Now, what do I mean by that? So if you've ever done the How to Become Money workbook, you will know what I'm talking about. If you've never done the How to Become Money workbook, go check it out right now. Run, don't walk. It's a transcript of a class that Gary did a long time ago, Gary Douglas, Access Consciousness. And it really takes you through the being of money. How do you be money? What is that process? What are the questions that you ask? How do you look at that? Blah, blah, blah. What you end up discovering throughout that workbook is that everything that you thought was true, like worry, like fear, like stress, is not actually true. It's a creation, and that what is actually true is that you are money, you are power, you are creativity, you are awareness, you are all these things, right? But those are the first things that we take ourselves out of when it comes to money. And those are the things that when you buy into them, like when you buy into needing money, I hear that from a lot of people. Sometimes I hear myself say it, like, oh my God, I need more money. Every time I hear myself say that, and this is something you could use too, I go, wait a minute, is that actually true? Now, to be honest, this has taken about 1.5 years of really active practice in this area. But now that's the first thing I'll ask. Do I actually need it? I always, 100% of the time, get a no. And it doesn't matter how many dollars are in my bank account or not in my bank account. I never need it. And so this is one of the first lies that would really change something for you if you're willing to get out of it. I tell this story a lot, but about, a couple years ago, 2.5 years ago, I had just moved to Vancouver. I had created my back up against the wall financially. Like I had maxed out all my credit. I quit my job. I had like $500 left in my bank account. I was living with a new guy. It was all the things. And this new guy had gotten with me because he had projected and expected that I was this chick that I wasn't actually being. And so he wasn't that thrilled with me, and he really didn't want to be paying all the bills, but he was. It was a shit show. And so I went through about 3 weeks of feeling really sorry for myself. Like, I had lots of problems. I was upset. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what I was going to do. I couldn't get a job waiting tables. I couldn't do this. I couldn't do that. I had boxed myself up into a massive corner. And I went to a bars exchange one night, and Carlina Vanderway, who you guys might know, she's an amazing facilitator. I just finally was vulnerable, and I'm like, look, I'm doing this thing and I don't even know how to get out of it. And she asked the question that she asked me that changed everything for me, because I kept saying, I need money and I need this to change right now. And she's like, well, truth, do you actually need? And I was like, fuck. Like, the answer sort of the awareness pissed me off, because it was really this dynamic thing that I had bought for myself that I needed. And I was like, well, if you see my bank account, you'd know I need it. It was no, I didn't need it. And I literally had, I had very few dollars to rub together at that point, and the pressure was on. And so I went home from that exchange, and I was really like, and I hadn't even really gone through the How to Become Money workbook at that point. And that, going through the workbook a year later, really changed things even more. I just went back home and I was like, okay, so if need's not real and I require cash, what can I create? That was it. I was just like, okay, I don't even know if I believe this thing that needs not real. It's been so real my whole life. I've bought into it my whole life. I've been aware of it my whole life. My mother functioned from it. My dad functioned. Everybody around me functions from it. I don't know if I believe it, but what I do know is that it's crippling me energetically. I didn't even have those words, but I knew it was crippling me to stay in that place. And so I literally just started choosing. And the closest thing to my fingertips to start choosing was creating some online program. I had just enough visibility. People knew who I was. I'd had like 2 people that had bought a telecall prior to that, so I knew that somebody would pay me something, maybe. And I didn't even go after that. I really just started creating from no point of view, meaning like I actually created a 3-day group called Interesting Point of View. I have this point of view, a worldwide challenge. It's free, come play. And then somebody else, the universe contributed somebody else to my world that said, hey, we'd really like to pay you to play more. And I was so grateful for that, because it hadn't occurred to me. And voila, within like 3 or 4 days, I'd made like my first $900 online. So I've told that story a lot, but that story is one of my favorites to illustrate what choosing beyond what feels real with money. And you guys, this journey with money, it really doesn't matter where you are with it. It doesn't matter if you've found ways and you've got tens of thousands of dollars coming in every month, or you've just got $500 a month. It doesn't matter the amount that you've got coming in every month. You can easily fall into a way of functioning with money that isn't going to work for you and isn't going to create more. And you got to get that you're aware and you're psychic. And in this reality with money, there's a lot of bullshit going on. There's a lot of things flying around. Lies are everywhere, right? That you can buy into that make your money reality impossible. So the thing about money is that if you take yourself out of the creative source seat of your life, and the way you do that is by buying a lie, buying into need, buying into I lack. And every time you say, I want money, you're saying, I lack money. Every time you do that, you take yourself out of the equation. You don't have access to you anymore, and you are your best resource. Now, again, with that, you don't have to believe that. You just have to be willing to go out on a limb and start choosing things that you haven't been choosing before. And how do you do that? You just start anywhere. And you can ask yourself the question of what choices can I make here that's going to change this right away? Okay, so lies. The second facet that I want to touch on, because this is really, this conversation could go on for days. There's whole 3-5-day classes on money. But the second thing I want to touch on is projections and expectations. So I've realized lately, I'm doing a book club right now on the book, Projections, Expectations, Separations, Judgments, and Rejections. And if you haven't bought that book, I cannot recommend it enough. Only don't do it if you want your whole life to change. Don't want your whole life to change. But so what I've been getting as I'm going through that book is that I buy into people's projections and expectations of me. And I also do a lot of projections and expectations of people, but also of money and of the things that I create. Now, it's been less and less and less over the years, but now that I'm staring it right in the face, of course, like, you can't become unaware of the things you're now aware of. So now I'm seeing it everywhere. And projections and expectations actually create separation and judgment and rejection. So when you're projecting and expecting that you put a class on or you create a thing and it will create this fixed result, it has to create this fixed result, you've all of a sudden killed everything that thing could create. You've killed your class. And Gary tells this story of a guy that was a bars facilitator, access bars facilitator, and he had like 10 signups to his bars class, and he started like allocating and calculating the money that he was going to be pulling in and figuring out, and then he started pre-spending it. Have you guys done this, where it's like, okay, this can cover that bill and that can, keeping in mind that no money had crossed his palm at this point. It was all theoretical money. So he spent it all. So he went to the conclusion that he was going to have it, spent it all in his head, and he ended up cancellation after cancellation after cancellation after cancellation, one person in his bars class. And I read this story to people all the time. It washes over me in different ways. And so I've really had to get kind of assertive with myself. And when I say kind of, I mean really assertive with the things that I create, in going, I don't know what this is going to create, but I get it's going to create something. And as I go along in the creation of that thing, I pock and pod my projections, expectations, separations, judgments, and rejections, number one. And number two, I keep myself really busy creating other things. So there's other things that you have to get about the way you function for money to start to work with you. First, money is a being. It's not a doing. It's not cash. It's not gold. It's not any of those things. It's a being. That's a whole little process. But the second thing is like no, there's no second thing. So money is a being. So if money is a being and it's not a doing, then you really got to get, okay, so what do I be that nobody else bees that would create more money in my life with total ease? And what choices can I make that would actualize it? Now, that's the simplistic part of it. That's the all of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory part. In the process of actualizing that, and it doesn't matter where you're at with it, your shit's going to come up. Why? You're aware. You live in a reality where there's a lot of insanity with money. You're psychic. All right, you're going to pick up a lot of other people's shit. You're going to think it's yours. You're going to go, no, it's definitely mine. Look, I have all of this proof that this story right here is mine. Okay? That's thing number 42 is really, really don't listen to or tell or buy your own story about anything about money. Not one thing. That you can't, that you haven't been able to, that this didn't create, that this has been hard. Don't buy any of that shit. As soon as you hear yourself talking about a reason and a justification for why something is the way it is, just shut up. Do yourself a favor and shut up. Go get duct tape. I don't care what it takes. Just shut fuck up. Okay? This is going to be a favor to you and the rest of the world, but mostly to you. And it's a little more interesting to catch yourself in your own stories, but anytime you're going into but or because or I can't because or this is hard, anytime you do anything but just choose, you're in a story. So with everything about your money reality, go, what can I actually choose today to change this right away? And one of the tools that I give a lot of my clients, a lot of the coaching clients that I have, because usually when people start coaching with me, they have an idea of what they want to get out of it, which is cool. But things never show up the way you think. And one of the things that's usually required when people coach with me is money. So I have everybody that works with me make a list of 100 things that they could do to create cash right now. If they had to create cash right now, what could they choose? And if you guys want to come on the call, let's go to bit.ly/clear the SHT, and that'll get you onto the calls for the next 3 days. They're only $75. It's crazy, but I wanted to have a little fun. So, what was I saying? Before my little mini plug for myself, and Dominique just signed up. That's what reminded me. Thank you. It's going to be fun. I have no idea what I was talking about. Buying your story. Stop it. Truly, stop it. I've had to start to acknowledge a lot of places in my life lately where being limited is more important to me. Justifying why I'm limited is more important to me than choosing. And that's a really, really, really fucking cool thing to acknowledge, especially if you can do it with no judgment of yourself, where you can just be like, man, I really just like being limited. It's fun for me. And, from that place, that's the place from where you can start to change anything. So I've had a lot of changes going on in my life. We're about to change houses and go on the road and do some facilitating on the road and things like that. So there's a lot of change in my world. And I've had to look at what I decided were my plans, because as an online coach and facilitator, I'm always looking a little bit in the future. I'm always like, okay, so let's put this out in the world and let's do this and let's do this. And I started looking last week at my plans, and I was like, is this going to create the money that I require right now? No. What will? What would be fun? What can I choose right this second that would change this right away? And this is where the conversation that's happening right now in Access becomes really relevant, because your capacities with money are irrational. They are completely irrational. They don't make sense in this reality. They aren't linear. They don't follow a pattern. They can't be duplicated because they're yours. I remember actually my sister used to get really pissed off with me in my 20s. I was starting to date and figured out I was pretty, late bloomer, and starting to date. And I would have these guys in my life that just wanted to buy me stuff. I ended up getting this whole I ended up getting geared up for skiing from one guy that I was dating. It was like $1,500 worth of gear. He just bought it all for me. I needed tires for my car, and someone just bought me tires. I wanted to have a piano. Someone helped me finance it and then kept it for me because I didn't have space in my place. It was like thing after thing after thing after thing. And I still remember the moment when my sister was mad about it, because she's like, you just get all kinds of free shit. And that stuck with me, because in that 10 seconds, I decided that was wrong. And now what I get is that that's a capacity with money and with creation that, if I'm willing to have it, and I am now, can really, really, really create my life, the ease and the joy and the glory that I'm willing to have. And that's the thing about your capacities with money, is that they're not rational. They're irrational. You are irrational. And in this reality, and I'm saying this reality and your reality, not that they are separate, but they're different. Your reality with creation and with money is different than this reality. And forever, you guys, even me, especially me, I tried to make the way this reality said money should work for me. I tried to make myself fit in to the way that this reality works with money. But money doesn't work that way for me. In the coaching industry, in the online coaching industry, if you guys do any research into any of it, there are so many trainings on how to create 6 figures, how to launch your online course, how to do this, how to do Facebook marketing and all that stuff. And for a while there, I made that kind of the source of the information that I thought I was missing to create this thing that I wanted to create in the world. And it's not that there's not good information out there, but just really in the last 3 months or so, I've really been seeing how, one, that's a brilliant way of doing things if you're not you guys. If you are humanoid and not human, and if you guys have any questions about that, message me. That stuff doesn't work for you. And not only that, but duplication is like the lower form of creation. It's the lower thing that you do because actually tapping into what you're capable of is not something that you've ever really, really been taught or practiced choosing. And all of you have this capacity for creation that doesn't look like anything that's been seen in the world before. Now, one of the ways I see this bastardized, and I just want to put this little bug in your ear, is going and looking for the thing that's only you. Nobody's ever done it before. I want to find the thing that's only me. Well, you're not definable. And that's not what I mean. When you go out and you try to find the definition of you that isn't available to you, you're going to get really frustrated. What I mean is your being can't be duplicated. The way you show up in the world. And you've got a really weird sense of humor. And you've got really perverted points of view and really weird things about you that, if you would allow yourself to be them, could create for you. And what I see a lot of happening in people's worlds is cutting that off. Trying to be nice, trying to be a coach, whatever that means, trying to be professional, trying to be, as opposed to being. The thing about being is that it doesn't feel like anything. It isn't solid. It's not definable. It's not put into wordsable. You just be it. And you also don't notice what you're being when you're being. You can't perceive it. You can't solidify it. So being doesn't have any solidity or fixed points of view. And what I find around money is that we go for looking for the solidity to feel like we're creating something, to feel like something. And being doesn't have any solidity in it. Being is just being and choosing and doing and choosing and seeing what it creates and getting awareness from it. And that's the pleasure and the play of being. And it can be a little uncomfortable because it's not normal. It's not the thing. It's not any training you're going to find online except for maybe Access Consciousness money classes, where basically what we're going to do is we're going to destroy and uncreate all of your fixed points of view. Because guess what's limiting what can show up in your life? Everything you bought into that's fixed. All the secret and hidden and covert and unseen, unacknowledged, undisclosed points of view. All of the form and structure and the significance that you've decided you have to function from when it comes to money and comes to creation and comes to business. All of the beingnesses that have nothing to do with being. Beingnesses is the proof of being. You have to prove you're being something to be it. Beingness. All of that stuff, all the judgment, all of the agendas. Guess what an agenda is? A fixed point of view about what should show up. When you talk about agendas in government, the corporations go into the government and they lobby because they have an agenda. The NRA in the United States has an agenda. Guess what it is? Sell more guns. That's it, right? That's an agenda. So how many secret agendas do you have creating the money that's not showing up in your life? Here's something else that's very random, and I'm just going to sort of tie this up with, is that most of what is not showing up in your life that you say you want is being created by stuff that you're hiding from yourself. And most of what we hide from ourselves is how being limited works for us. That's most of what we hide. It's working for us to be limited. And that's a weird thing to say, but it is. And how do I know that? Because I know you, and I know that when stuff stops working for you and you get bored, you change things. As soon as you're bored with a relationship, you change it. As soon as you're bored with being fat, you change it. As soon as you're bored with a job, you change it. As soon as you're bored, it's done. It's over. Call in the squad, move out the shit, it's done instantly, just like that. Now, we don't usually acknowledge when it's done. We don't usually acknowledge that we're bored, but if you're willing to, you can start to notice this about yourself. So if being limited with money is getting boring, that's when you know you're actually ready to change something. Until that point, it's working for you in some way. And that's weird, but life is weird. We're not logical. We think we're logical. We try to be logical. We're not logical. We're irrational. And the stuff about us that's best about us is the most irrational stuff about us, which is actually the most creative elements in our world that are the ones we try to cut off to try to be rational and logical and fit into this reality. No, this is a lot. You gal, this is a lot. So I want to leave you with a few tools, kind of sum this up into a few tools that could really start to change things for you. One is interesting point of view. I have this point of view about any goddamn thing about anything, but especially in this particular live about money. Anything that comes up for you around money, interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view. If any of you guys aren't yet in our free Interesting Point of View Facebook group, search it and come join us. We just play with it in there. The second thing is whose lies and what lies am I using to create the blank I'm choosing, whatever, to create the limited money reality I'm choosing, to create the hardship with money I am choosing, to create the constant, incessant need for past expenditures am I using? Whose lies and what lies am I using to create the blank I am choosing? And then you just pock and pod. Everything that is, I destroy and uncreate it. Pock and pod. Pock and pod, as Dane says. And the other thing is the projections and the expectations. So how many projections and expectations am I using to separate and judge and reject me and the money I could be choosing, am I choosing? And everything that is, will you destroy and uncreate all that? Right, wrong, good, bad, POD, POC, online, shorts, boys and beyonds. Every single time you project and you expect of yourself, of something you create, of some class, it creates the separation from the judgment of and the rejection of you. Every single time, without exception. You can't even trick yourself out of that. Like as soon as you've projected and expected something, you've separated, you've judged, and you've rejected you and very likely other people. But as soon as you do it to you, other people, it doesn't even matter because of course they're separated and judged and rejected too. And so that's one of the ways we kill possibilities dynamically. So the tools are using those to POC and POD things, and also choice. That's my fourth and final tool, is choice. Because it doesn't matter how much clearing you do, because you can clear and you can clear and you can clear, and I recommend putting these on a loop. And if you don't know what a loop is, you can message me. There's an app called Voice Loop. And there's a few apps where you just speak into it and then press play and it will just continually run. And also choose anything. Choose anything. Choose anything. Choose anything. Choose anything. If you require money, what are the 100 ways that you could play with creating cash right now? What are the 100 ways you could play with creating cash right now? And that's it. And then you start choosing. Choice is going to create awareness. Choice creates. It creates awareness. It creates things. It creates magic. It creates, okay? So choose, 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 choose. That is my favorite tool. That's the one I use dynamically. I will choose things and then change the date and choose again and then choose this thing over here and then change that and choose people and change people. And I think that's probably one of my capacities. You have a capacity for choice that you haven't yet acknowledged. And what would change in your world if you did? I gotta go. I got 2 more lives. I adore you guys. If you liked this, please share it. If you want to join the 3 calls, you're invited. They start Wednesday. bit.ly, bit.ly/clear the SHT. All right? I adore you guys. See you soon. Bye.